Welcome to Spotlight 814, ERIE'S local theater podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Dolly, and I am in the studio with my co-host, Brenna Thumler.
Hello.
Hi, Brenna.
Hi, Ryan.
What you doing?
I'm here recording podcasts.
With me?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. We got a lot to talk about today.
Yeah, we started off, I think yesterday we were like, are we going to have anything to talk about? And then we're like, oh, we have a ton, actually.
Well, we had to take a break last week because there was, nothing happening in the theater scene in Erie. And there was, one show out in Meadville that was only one weekend, which we'll talk about later. So we didn't have much to talk about last week, so we took a break.
Which will sometimes happen in the world of theater. There's not always something going on.
Exactly. So we are back this week with a loaded docket. We saw Jersey Boys last night at the Erie Playhouse, so we're going to talk about that. Stick around to find out what we thought of it. SpongeBob audition results at the Erie Playhouse as well. We're looking forward to seeing that. A little controversy surrounding the Pizza Bomber play.
Controversy.
Dun, dun, dun.
There's always controversy in Spotlight 814.
Yeah, always. And we're going to talk about what we're going to see tonight. A little bit of Shakespeare in the Park that we saw last week in Edinburgh. And talk about these wildfires in Canada that are kind of messing up.
Yeah, how they're affecting the theater community. Well, yes, everything, including the theater community.
Yeah, and we also have the 76 Tony Awards coming up on Sunday. So stick around, and we are going to start off with Jersey Boys.
Yay.
We did see this last night. We had a great time.
It's fantastic. So this was actually my first time ever seeing the show.
I've seen it about 9 times, I think.
It was fantastic. I also knew almost nothing about Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. Right. So there was all kinds of learning last night.
She was learning. So for those who don't know what Jersey Boys is, it's a documentary-style jukebox musical about 1960s rock and roll group Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. If you don't know who that is, you definitely know the songs.
Right.
Like
Sherry.
Big Girls Don't Cry, Walk Like a Man, Can't Take My Eyes Off of You.
Yeah. Which I did not know was a Frankie Valli song.
Yeah.
I just knew it from 10 Things I Hate About You.
Heath Ledger, rest in peace. The musical premiered at La Jolla Playhouse in 2004, ran on Broadway from 2005 to 2017, won the Tony Award for Best Musical in 2006, and it won a 2009 Olivier Award for Best New Musical in London.
Nice. So,
it's a pretty popular show.
I mean, everybody knows about Jersey Boys, and in fact, we've mentioned this before, but the Academy Theater in Meadville will be bringing it back to the community
next year.
Yeah, next summer.
Right around this time.
Yeah,
next year. So I'll be auditioning for that. But yeah, the Erie Playhouse production of Jersey Boys opened last night, starring Owen Hitt as Frankie Valli, Brenna Dougherty. He played Tommy DeVito. Dylan Vergatz as Bob Gaudio, and Patrick Vahey as Nick Massey. Directed by Richard Davis. Big shout out to music director Devin Yates. Those harmonies were tight.
They sounded fantastic. All 4 of them did.
Yeah, those harmonies were so tight. The show was great. I mean, it started off high energy, and it just never let up.
I know. I mean, a lot of times in a documentary style, it can get a little slow at points, and I was invested the whole time.
Yeah. So let's talk about, what we liked. So we shouted out Devin for the harmonies. Great work in the music director side there. Let's talk a little bit about Owen.
Yeah. My gosh. I'm pretty sure he can sing higher than I can.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
That range is crazy. I mean, you have to be able to sing that high. It's the whole character.
Right.
But
yeah, he was great. He stayed on those notes all night.
And he sings everything.
Yeah.
He has to sing every single song. And it's a lot. It's a lot to do. It's a lot of being in character the entire show, every second.
Yeah. So Owen killed it. Shout out to Brendan. Great Tommy DeVito. Comic timing was fantastic. Now, I was told that Brendan will be the first person to tell you that accents aren't his thing. So I'm just going to go ahead and say it. It didn't bother me because you were great. But the accent sounded like Foghorn Leghorn spent a little time in New Jersey and walked out with a little bit of a Jersey accent. I
was not, first of all, not familiar with Foghorn Leghorn until I watched a best of Foghorn Leghorn video last night.
I say.
The accent did not bother me at all because I was not aware of what it was supposed to be.
Right.
It just sounded like he was a real pretentious person, and which the character is.
Yeah.
So I thought it worked.
No, he did a great job. I just heard this like southern twang in it somehow, and it was like, okay, but I didn't hate it because he was great.
So funny.
Yeah,
so
was,
funny. So commanding.
The comic timing was perfect. Yeah, he commanded the stage. So great job.
But you have, as a leader of the group, like he really stood out to me as someone who he had to be probably most on, I would say.
Yeah.
So much energy that he has to put into every single scene.
Right, because he starts the show off narrating the show.
Yeah.
So if you don't command the stage from the very beginning, then you lose the crowd.
Right.
And he did it. He was perfect. So great job. Even with the Foghorn Leghorn, I loved it. I thought it added a new twist to the character.
Yeah, it worked for who the character is. Maybe it's not, it's hard when it's a documentary style and you're supposed to be portraying a real life person.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And you don't have the same voice as that person, but you're also completely meant to play that role. Yeah. It's like, of course you should play the role, even if you don't have the Italian accent, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen what Hairspray in Korea. Okay. Well, that's another conversation.
Tracy Turnblad's not a real human being.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a little different.
Yeah, never mind. Forget what I said. I don't know. Dylan Vergotts. No, let's talk about Dylan.
My gosh, Dylan.
Dylan stole the show for me.
Same. Incredible. Yeah. Absolutely incredible. And he's so young. I had no idea he was that young.
Just graduated high school. Dude's voice is insane. Perfect for Bob Gaudio.
Right.
Perfect. And he commanded the stage as well. Like, he was Bob Gaudio.
I think that's the thing. Like, they all did such a great job at playing their individual roles. Mm-hmm. And so each character could stand alone very, very well.
Yeah. And Patrick Vahey, of course, played Nick Massey. Loved it. I've seen actors play that role and like just not do it justice, and because it's got some really funny moments at the end of the show there.
Well, that's the thing. Like, as a character written in the script, he doesn't get a lot of attention
until the end.
Yeah.
And when he does get that attention, like he runs.
He takes it. Yeah.
Like, it's so good. It's so funny. So great job, and he had so much energy in the choreography and stuff. I don't know if you were watching.
Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah, like again, he was portraying his own character. Like, he smiled more than all of them, and so like he found a way to make his character interesting. And I think also along the lines of that, like each character grew over time throughout the show, mm-hmm. and so the fact that he sort of ended as a more confident person just kind of showed his trajectory as a character. Right. And it was great.
Yeah. So the four guys, the four seasons.
Can I also just shout out the fact that I found out that Dylan, what was his last name?
Vergotts.
Dylan Vergotts. He and several others from Erie are going to be performing in the Fringe Festival this summer, the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. They're going to be performing Dusk, which is a parody of Twilight.
Right.
And I guess they got recognized over TikTok from working on this show, so like shout out to them. This Fringe Festival is a huge thing.
And
So-
I know Brenna said to you yesterday that she's going there to see you. She wanted to clear it up. She's not going there specifically to see you. Like, she's going to be there at the same time that you're going to be there.
So I went up to Dylan after the show. I'm like, "Oh, you're going to be in the Fringe Festival, right? I'm coming to see it." He was like, "Wait, you're coming to Edinburgh to see this show?" Already made plans to be at the Fringe Festival. It just so happens that
You guys will be there.
yeah, you will be
performing.
there. So now that I know you'll be there performing, I intend to try to see your show.
It was,
I'm not a stalker.
it was only partially stalkerish. So that's awesome. You'll have to let us know how that goes.
Oh yeah,
Take some videos or something to send to us, and we'll post it on our page.
right. I don't think I can.
Not
see
of
it.
the show.
Okay.
Not of the show.
Okay.
Of you after the show when you stalk
Great.
him. And be
Yeah.
like, hey, let's take a selfie.
Prepare yourself for that, Dylan.
Yeah.
I'll make you more uncomfortable again.
More uncomfortable, the better. And I want to give a huge shout out to the ensemble of the show. They work their asses off in the show.
Right, and I think that ensemble never gets enough credit because you do not have your parts written for you.
Right.
Like, you don't have lines, you don't necessarily have blocking. There's like, go here and react.
Yeah.
And they were on the whole time too.
Yeah. Notably, I want to say Casey Conrad Medvis, who played Bob Crew, among many other characters.
Yes.
He was fantastic. Matt Fuchs. Then there's Maddie Penpeck and Janet Baker. Those four, like, they played so many different roles,
Right.
and they were spot on the entire show, and they worked so hard.
Constant costume changes, and I'm here to tell you that costume changes are one of the most stressful parts of a show. When you have so many, it's weighing on your mind the whole time, and you're still deeply in character the entire show.
One of the parts that made me laugh last night was, like, during one of the more serious parts of the show, Frankie and the Four Seasons are doing their little thing on stage right, or stage left, and
The clapping.
she's in the crowd, and she's the only one clapping, and she's going,
It seems like every single time he turns around.
yeah. every time Frankie spins, she goes. I laughed so hard there.
I think that's the thing. Like, when the ensemble has so much to carry from their own, I don't know, their own ideas of how their character would react. Like, if you don't have your character written, it's just like, oh, someone in the crowd.
Yeah.
How do you bring enough life to that character to make it interesting?
Yeah.
And so many people in the ensemble did that.
Yeah, no, it was great. The whole ensemble. We don't want to just say the four. Those are the four that really stood out to me. But the entire ensemble was
Right.
fantastic. So we definitely recommend going to see Jersey Boys.
Yeah, and I mean, I always say this at the end, but I'll just let you know the dates right now as we're talking about it. So, Jersey Boys is running through June 25th.
Yes, so you have plenty of time to see it. Get your tickets. We definitely recommend it. It is a Spotlight 814 recommended show. That's a new thing now.
I mean, we'll probably, it's going to, most shows, we're going to say, go see them.
Yeah. Do
But
it. Even if we don't like them, we're going to tell you to go see them because you might like them.
go support the community theater.
Yeah. But we did like that one. Another Erie Playhouse show coming up very soon. SpongeBob SquarePants, the musical.
Yes.
They held their auditions last week, and the cast list is posted. Now, I personally don't know a lot of these people because I haven't really been in the community that much in the last, 15 years, but, I know some of them, and I'm really excited to see the show. SpongeBob will be played by Michael Graham, which I believe it's his first Playhouse show, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Patrick Starr will be played by previously mentioned Casey Conrad Medvis. I think he's going to be perfect for that.
Right.
Perfect for Patrick. I can't wait to see that. Zaina Darris as Sandy Cheeks, Ryan Ingram as Eugene Krabs, Dan Bainbridge as Sheldon Plankton, and Miles Bruce as Squidward. So it's going to be great. We have our friend Chris Peterson playing, what's his name?
The Skeeter, electric skate.
Buster Blue Tang. That's what we're gonna call him that at work all the time. Buster Blue Tang.
And our other friend Zach Hoffman.
Yeah.
Right.
Perch Perkins in the ensemble. So we look forward to seeing that tickets, I think, are on sale for that right now. If I'm
I
not
would
mistaken.
imagine so.
So definitely check that out. Now, before we take a little break, this is a tough subject. We talked about
This is the controversy. Dun dun dun.
dun dun dun. We talked a little bit a couple weeks ago about the Pizza Bomber play.
Mm-hmm.
And what the show's about, and it's a big thing that happened in Erie, and people are still kind of around from that family and those families that were all involved. I know David Durst was having issues getting people to audition for the show. I know he says he has some independent auditions coming up in the next few days. The show, it's kind of controversial right now. I mean, a lot of people are like, maybe we shouldn't be doing that. And I kind of get it. It's I don't ever want to discourage somebody from creating art. Like, I don't ever want to do that. I think this is a show, this is a concept that needs to be thought through a little bit more.
That's what I was asking. I didn't know exactly how. I mean, we're not familiar with the script. We don't know at all what it's like. I didn't know if it was going to take a more comedy angle, because it is sort of a ridiculous news story, but it's still true. It's still happening. It's still tragic.
Yeah. So my thoughts on it personally are that people aren't auditioning because they're not sure how the show is going to be.
Which is tough for an original play.
Yeah. I feel like this is a kind of show that you need to workshop, have staged readings, stuff like that, before you put it up on stage, like in its full capacity. Because people aren't comfortable auditioning for a show like this. It's the subject matter is very difficult.
Yeah, it's not just a bombing. It's like you mentioned that the woman had bipolar disorder, and I mean, like, mental illness plays a role, so that's always kind of a tricky line to walk. And
you don't want to run the risk of humanizing some of these people.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Because Marjorie Dale Armstrong was a monster. She was an absolute monster. And, like, she killed, like, 3 of her boyfriends and blew this guy up in a parking lot. Like, you don't want to humanize that person at the same time. So I don't know exactly what the script is. I don't want to, like, say it's going to be terrible, because I'm not going to say that, because I don't know. I don't know what the script is, and I don't know what the context of the show is going to be. But I think that's where the problem is, where he's having a hard time getting people to audition for the show.
Yeah, I think people are just nervous to commit to something like that they don't even know what it is.
Yeah.
I think it's because, like, I mean, the story's already out there. Everyone knows what happened.
Everybody knows
the
story, yeah.
So it's not like we have to protect anybody, because everyone's familiar and anyone can find information. They don't have to, like, protect the actual information that's being given.
Right.
But I think it's more about how the story is being told is what people don't know.
Yeah. I mean, that's just my recommendation, is maybe do stage readings or workshop it a bit to get people a little bit more familiar with it in the community, like with the show itself, and get feedback. I don't know.
It could be great. It could be a great telling of it. That's the thing. We just don't know.
No, yeah, nobody really knows. So, just a suggestion. I know that's personally why I would be like, I don't know if I want to go audition for that.
I'd be nervous to audition. I would be.
And take that for what you will, David. We're not judging. I think it's great that you're creating this, and we just want to know more about it. We want to kind of, I don't know, I think the community wants to know a little bit more about the show itself.
I think it's really cool when people can turn local stories into, local art.
Yes.
This is a tricky one.
It's a really difficult one to navigate, and course, we wish you nothing but the best, and we do hope people audition for the show if you plan on putting it up in its full capacity, and we will be there to support it. But still think you should maybe workshop it.
Is this happening end of August? Is this the one that's
end of August? It's out in Northeast.
Okay. So yeah, so I'll be here for that one.
Yeah. So we will definitely go see that. Yeah, and we're gonna take a real quick intermission here, and we're gonna come back, and Brenna's gonna talk a little bit more about Shakespeare while I take a nap.
You're going to pay attention.
We're gonna talk about those wildfires out in Canada that are screwing everything up, including Broadway.
Right.
And
tie that into Shakespeare in the Park.
Yeah, and then we got the Tony Awards this weekend, so we got a little celebration for theater.
Yeah.
So what? Okay, we'll be back. We are back.
Hi.
Spotlight 814. Hi, Brenna.
Hi.
Hi, we're back. So Brenna, we saw some of our friends out in Meadville perform in Edinburgh last week.
Mm-hmm. At the Goodell Gardens.
Goodell Gardens in Edinburgh. We saw Shakespeare in the Park.
A Midsummer Night's Dream.
That's right. Why don't you talk about Shakespeare, and I'm going to go take a snooze.
You're going to be invested in everything that I say. So, well, first of all, let's just briefly talk about the show because we didn't get a chance to do that.
That's true.
The fact that it was put on in a garden was so important to my experience seeing it because you felt really immersed in the world of Shakespeare, and the whole story is about this like escape into the woods and how this location, the woods itself, kind of creates a dreamscape that makes everything feel like they're not entirely experiencing it and quite questioning reality. So the setting itself was incredible. It was my first time seeing any kind of Shakespeare in the Park.
Yeah, Gannon does it every year, and theirs is going to be coming up, I think, in July.
Yeah, and it's like 10-minute tragedies,
yeah,
right?
So that'll be fun to watch, actually. They do that in Frontier Park, which is great.
It was...
Continue, sorry.
Oh, no, I mean, chime in, whatever. But the one thing, it was really hard to hear a lot of it.
Because it's right by a road.
It's right by a busy road.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of it got drowned out, sadly. Thankfully, I had just read A Midsummer Night's Dream for a class, and so I was familiar with the story. I think that helped me, thankfully.
Yeah. But if you'd never seen the show and didn't know anything about it, it would be really tough to follow.
Yeah.
In that space.
Yeah.
Just because everything was so drowned out.
Mm-hmm. And as is most Shakespeare, not just in the writing of it, but just the storytelling is very complex and confusing, and there are a lot of misunderstandings and people falling for the wrong people and in disguise, and so there's already a lot of confusion within his stories, and so to not be able to hear what's happening, it makes it that more tough.
My dad would have been so lost because he watches the TV at like 60 on the volume. It's a war zone in the house if he's watching a war film. Like, I have to duck and cover when I'm in the bathroom. I'm like
I think the thing is, I mean, Shakespeare is a lot of just interpretation and like context clues, and even I mentioned this on the last episode how actors' performance, the action tells a lot of the story because they have to help the audience understand what's happening.
Yeah, of course.
So it was still, I mean, if someone had not read it, I think they could still understand a lot of what was happening because of the context clues.
Yeah, my dad would have been like, what? What's happening? What did you say? What's happening? And then I would have had to leave because that would have been driving me nuts. I'd be like, Dad, I'm taking you. You're going to
This
a
is
home.
why you don't take your dad to shows.
Going to a home, Dad.
So, I mean, the young lovers, like, speaking Shakespeare at that age, I was impressed. Yeah. I mean, that's a lot to remember. They had really big roles. Mm-hmm. And in order to, perform it with meaning.
Yeah.
I know that Jim Bullman went over a lot of the Shakespearean language and meanings and everything with the performers.
Yeah, I mean, he's been teaching that for years.
Yeah, I think it was 44 years. Yeah. I'm pretty sure something around that. And so they did fantastic. I want to shout out our friends Meadow. Yes.
Killed it. She killed it. She was Lysandra, which is Lysander.
Yeah, so they had originally cast a male as Lysander from the original, and then for unknown reasons he dropped out of the show, and so Meadow stepped in and they switched it to Lysandra to add a sort of like a queer interpretation of the show, which was very cool.
Yeah, she was fantastic. She really projected, which I appreciated.
Yeah.
We could hear everything she said. She was brilliant.
And as were Autumn Vogel and Elise Candanero as our fairy king and queen, amazing.
Yes.
Those two are great in everything they do, but amazing fairies.
Yeah.
And again, spoke with great clarity and conveyed Shakespearean meaning really well. I think Glenn Holland stole the show for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was great.
As Robin Goodfellow, or not Robin Goodfellow, but Bottom.
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah, so pretentious, and so Shakespearean.
Such an ass.
Yeah, as he plays in the show.
Yep.
Just incredible. But
B.J. Ongstad as Puck.
Yeah,
we loved it. I've never seen Puck played by like an older person.
Yeah, and an older woman.
Yeah, and BJ, she's young. She's young at heart, and we love her.
She is.
We love her
She's
dearly.
Spritey.
She is very spritey, and she was fantastic as Puck.
Mm-hmm.
She did a great job, selling the confusion of everything that was happening in the story. And like,
because she's the cause of the confusion.
Everything's her fault.
Yeah.
It's all your fault, BJ. But you were fantastic, and we loved you. And shout out to your dad.
Yep. Yeah.
Big Brian Thumler.
My dad played Snug. One of the mechanics. So the mechanics are my favorite part of the entire show.
Yeah.
Because basically they're the bumbling idiots who are trying to put on a performance for the Duke and his wife who are about to be married. And so they're trying really hard to create this play within the play. Mm-hmm. And they have no idea what they're doing. And they're worried that the audience won't understand that this is acting. And the mechanics were all fantastic.
Yeah, they were great. So you got some more about like Shakespeare in the Park, and like Shakespeare in the Park has been a thing for a very, very, very long time.
So we all know that I like my deep dives in my history. So I did a whole deep dive of the origins of Shakespeare in the Park. So I hope this is interesting. I am fascinated by this. So get into it, people.
Giddy up. I thought that's what you were going to say.
Giddy up. I'm Kramer right now. Okay, so basically, historians say that theater offerings go back as far as the 17th century, in the state of New York at least. And parks have always been really important to theater of all kinds, whether it be like puppet shows or musicals. Like they have been performed in parks for a great deal of time. And like the ancient Greeks performed outdoors. The Globe Theater, which was was built by the Shakespearean Company, that was open air. So like theater outdoors has been a thing for a while. But this kind of newer concept of Shakespeare in the Park is sort of linked back to the 1930s. There was this federal theater project in the mid-1930s that put unemployed actors to work. They sponsored like hundreds of programs all across the U.S. Now, there are some differences in the websites that I researched with. One site calls it like portable theater drama. One calls it caravan theater. But regardless, they were these mobile-driven trucks or mobile truck-driven stages, and there were these wings of fabric that ran beside the stages that could pull out of the truck for costume changes, and these caravans had to carry all the equipment and everything. And basically, these caravans traveled all around the boroughs of New York City. And I think there were like 5 different trucks that performed 6 days a week. So that was 30 chances to see theater all around the city.
Yeah, and like 1 week. That's crazy.
Yeah. And the good thing is that this brought theater to underprivileged communities.
Yeah.
And so so they performed a lot of Shakespeare, but their repertoire also included like a 10-act vaudeville piece and modern comedies like The Marriage Proposal by Chekhov, classics like Treasure Island.
10-act vaudeville piece?
Yeah.
No way.
Mm-hmm.
No. I'm not sitting through that. Absolutely not.
Well, clearly it was enjoyed by some people. So,
yeah, that was like back when, like, nothing had electricity.
Okay. Well, they said they carried lights and audio equipment and scenery around their caravans. So, all right. So,
10 acts.
Maybe they're really short, like the 10-minute tragedies.
Oh.
Maybe they're really short. Anyway. So in 1937, more than 1,900,000 people saw caravan productions, which was incredible for the time because that was the worst period of the Great Depression. Yeah. So the fact that this was all happening at that time period was insane. But then the Federal Hill Theater, which had sponsored these programs, ended up closing, and community theaters...
Barbecue.
It is very good barbecue.
We are accepting new sponsorships. Federal Hill Barbecue.
We'll come here and eat your barbecue while we talk.
Yeah.
And talk about the barbecue.
Yeah. Carry on.
So then the theater closed. Community theaters began springing up all across the country. I do want to say, though, that despite all of this outdoor theater, a lot of people credit this man, Joseph Papp, as being the origins of the official Shakespeare in the Park. So he was the one who founded Public Theater in New York City in 1954. He provided free productions of Shakespeare on the Lower East Side and then moved to Central Park. And then in 1957, he began mobile presentations. He had this 35-foot tractor trailer pulled by a sanitation truck that he took around the city. Again, the stage could unfold to put on the performances. And most importantly, he insisted on keeping the plays free. That was his main thing. And Shakespeare in the Park is often free, which is incredible because sometimes it is the only theater that a person will be able to see in a year because theater can be expensive. Now, because of his insistence, he got a lot of pushback from, and I quote, New York's most famous and curmudgeonly park commissioner, Robert Moses.
Ron Swanson.
So basically, Moses was like, I don't want, you should be charging people for this. Yeah. And they fought in court, but and Moses called Papp a communist, and ultimately the court sided with Papp. So the free theater could continue. Moses was still concerned that too many people would be treading on the grass in the park. So that is how the Delacorte Theater, which now is still in Central Park today, that was built in 1962 is when it opened, and it cost $250,000 to build. So
I bet Ron Swanson was really happy about that money.
Yeah, right.
Money.
So he, in a way, he did win a bit because he had his little theater built. So but the building of this theater actually contributed to a greater popularity in Shakespeare in the Park. Yeah. So a win-win. And the opening performance at this theater was The Merchant of Venice, which was directed by Papp himself and featured the talents of James Earl Jones.
Oh.
Which I Googled, and he was born in the 1930 something. Yeah. So he was in his 30s when he was in that performance.
I wonder if his voice was like super, super low back then too. Like his Darth Vader voice.
I would assume that in his 30s he would have the same voice as he has now. Yeah.
Man, James Earl Jones, what a legend.
Yeah. Merchant of Venice back in 1962.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I didn't hate that story.
You see? You see? I promise you, it's fascinating. Now you know all about the origins of Shakespeare in the Park and Central Park and the theaters there.
Yeah. They are currently doing Hamlet.
Okay.
Shakespeare in the Park.
Mm-hmm.
and Hamlet was canceled the other night.
And I bet you guys can guess why, based on the atmosphere lately.
Yeah, it was a little hazy out there.
Right.
But not nearly as hazy as it was in New York. I don't know if you saw the videos and the photos. It looked like you were walking in through the gates of hell.
I know, it was very apocalyptic.
Yeah. So the air quality was so bad in New York that they canceled not only the outdoor shows at Shakespeare in the Park, but they canceled several indoor shows, including Hamilton and, I believe, Parade and Camelot.
Mm-hmm.
So at least 3 major shows on Broadway had to cancel.
Because of the air.
Because of Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Blame Canada.
It's not Canada's fault.
I mean, there are like, what, 44 wildfires currently going in Quebec right now?
Yeah, I think I did read that Quebec is the worst place for them right now.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Did you have any more on Shakespeare?
Oh no! That was the end of my Shakespeare in the Park. I do have a lot on wildfires.
Okay, Brenna, take it away. Wildfires.
I mean, it's more than just that. It's how climate change itself is affecting outdoor theater, and which includes Shakespeare in the Park. So I guess I'm not entirely done with Shakespeare in the Park yet, but This is an article I read from New York Times, and basically, in the West you have your wildfires, in the South you have your heat, in the Northeast you have just changing weather patterns, and all of this is making outdoor theater really difficult. Basically, this old article, I won't go too much into it because they were just talking about all the different cancellations of all these shows across the country. A lot of them are because of smoke caused by wildfires. But I will say that a lot of the article talked about things that theaters are doing to rectify this. So one thing, like in Western Massachusetts at Tanglewood, which is the home of the Boston Symphony Orchestra, more trees are being planted for shade. So that's great. Yeah. They're planting more trees. That's important. Performance protocols are changing. So the American Players Theater in Spring Green, Wisconsin, now requires actors to wear specific wicking undergarments and drink these specific sports drinks, and also they eliminate wigs and jackets when the heat is too strong.
Okay, I have a story.
Okay, great.
I worked at Six Flags in D.C., Baltimore area for probably about 7 months, and it was all outdoor shows. It was like 103 degrees almost every day in Virginia. It's just like, ugh. No, it's in Maryland. Sorry. But still. And I had my character, I played like this nerdy guy in this high school show. And I had to wear like a wool jacket.
Yeah.
And I was dying on stage, but they wouldn't let me take it off.
Oh.
I was like, no, I'm not wearing this today. It's like 1,000,000 degrees and I'm going to die.
Was this 7 months straight or 7 months like across a couple summers?
It was like 7 months straight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Not enjoyable.
Do you remember what the show was?
It was like a crappy, review kind of show, but it was taking place at a high school prom.
Okay.
Or homecoming. And I was the nerdy character and fell in love with the other nerdy girl.
Gotcha.
And
okay.
I had to sing, what was it? Fireflies.
By Owl City?
Yeah, Owl City, Fireflies. Because I was setting up the lights.
Oh, no.
And I had these big dorky glasses on, and I sang Fireflies. And then we sang a bunch of Taylor Swift, and I just wanted to jump off a building. It was so hot. It was so hot.
Yeah. Well, so you didn't have to wear special wicking undergarments?
No, they wouldn't. They would be like, no, you're. Oh, I have so many words about that place. Don't ever work at a theme park in the summer. I'm sorry. If you're a performer, just don't do it. It's awful.
I mean, yeah, that sounds pretty rough.
Don't do it. Take my word.
Did you have to do more than one show a day?
Oh, yeah. About 8 shows a day.
Oh.
We had to do another crappy one in the water park where I had to sing a Kid Rock song, and I wanted to.
Okay, well we're gonna talk about some other ways that
I drank a lot that year, a lot.
Of water to stay hydrated.
Of water with alcohol in it. So much beer.
Okay, so a lot of theaters are also investing in ways to limit their own climate change contribution. So the Santa Fe Opera is investing in solar energy. The Hudson Valley Shakespeare Festival is planting native meadows, and the Oregon Shakespeare Festival is now using only electric vehicles.
Okay.
So they're just trying to find ways to limit their carbon footprint. The Oregon Shakespeare Festival also has installed air quality monitors in their theaters.
Well, I mean, yeah, the wildfires out there get so bad.
Yeah. I mean, so much of the wildfire problems are more in the West, even though as of now, it's starting to affect us more deeply.
But climate change isn't real.
The Oregon Shakespeare Festival also has a smoke team. So this smoke team holds daily meetings, and they assess whether or not to cancel or postpone. I did read that one lady at one time, she was like, no, let's go ahead and do this performance. I don't think we should postpone. And then a character or an actor ended up throwing up on the stage, and she was like, all right, I understand now. We're going to cancel if there's any risk.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, what a great name. The smoke team.
The smoke team.
Like, what's your job? Oh, I'm on the smoke team.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
I deal in smoke.
I'm a smoke show. We got a team of smoke shows. We call ourselves a smoke team. Look how sexy we are.
Yes. I'm sure that that's a qualifying factor is that they must be smoky and sexy. Okay, so the air quality index disrupting outdoor theater is a relatively new concept. This was not being talked about, back in the day.
Yeah.
And the Oscar Eustace, who's the artistic director of the Public Theater, which we mentioned, that's what Joseph Papp founded in Central Park. He is imagining that maybe they can do more performances in the spring and the fall. But Charles Fee, the art director of several theater nonprofits, he believes that outdoor theater will not be a permanent thing. He thinks that this is something in the future that is going to have to go away because of climate change.
Oh, that thing that people think isn't real?
Yeah, that one.
That one?
Right.
I heard a conspiracy the other day that that was not New York's skyline changing to bright orange was not because of the smoke coming from the wildfires.
Was it God?
It was uranium that was stolen 3 weeks ago that suddenly disappeared and nobody knew where it went.
It went into the sky.
Just being released into New York City.
Okay.
And everybody's okay today.
Huh.
So, it's like that time Damar Hamlin died, and everybody thought he was a clone because they didn't believe him.
I just saw this ad for a movie on Roku channel that said Elvis is still alive.
Yeah, that's another one.
I had a whole conversation with my friend back in the day we started talking about how, what if Elvis... Oh, no. This is Michael Jackson. We just had so many ideas on,
Tupac
what if...
is one of those, too.
Okay.
People say, he wasn't actually killed. He's in Hawaii or something.
Still out there. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Anyway.
Conspiracy theories are fun. I was laughing really hard the other day about the Damar Hamlin one because, everyone's like, oh, no, he's dead. He died on the field. And that's just a clone that they're walking around and parading around in the media.
It's a lot of effort to go through.
For a guy that, nobody knew his name before that day. I mean, if you were a football fan, he was a rookie, he was young, he was taken, late in the draft. He wasn't an everyday player, everyday name. And this happened to him on the field. He had his heart stopped. And all the conspiracy theorists out there who believe that, the vaccine is causing all these players to die and stuff like that. Right. They're like, oh, that's what did it. And he's actually dead. that's not really him that they're parading around. And now he's back on the football field practicing for the first time. And this is like less than a year later. And I'm like, oh, you guys remember that time that Damar Hamlin died? And then they cloned him? The government cloned him?
So they're pro-cloning, anti-vaccine.
Yes.
Just to clarify.
So I just, sorry to go on a little rant there, but I just wanted to share that because I enjoyed that story.
That's a good story.
Yeah. I mean, that's just like, some of those conspiracy theories are so wild that they're just funny. They're funny.
And now there are conspiracy theories about wildfires. Like, have you not seen the fires? Have you not seen there are footage of fires?
It's every year in the West. Like when the wildfires are going off, like outside of LA, the smoke in like Oregon and stuff like that, the skies are that color. They're not dropping uranium on top of your city.
Yeah, I will say, actually, there was another really good quote from, where is it? So General Director of Santa Fe Opera House said, "We are one giant ecosystem, and what happens in one place affects everywhere." Yeah. So that's what we see happening now in Canada. Like, these wildfires are in Canada, and they're affecting all the way down to us. Yeah. Like, this smoke spreads. Smoke is a gas. It's going to enter the atmosphere and, it's affecting theater in New York City.
Yeah. There was a one-woman show that was canceled because she couldn't breathe, or her understudy had to come on the other night. Like, she was like halfway through it, and she was like, I can't do it anymore. Yeah. Can't breathe. And that was an indoor theater. It got into the theater.
Right.
Like, that's how bad that smoke was. Climate change is real, people.
Yeah.
It's not uranium.
I know. It's like, that's what they're saying. Like, I mean, I'll say, of course, outdoor theater has been affected by weather ever since, and I'm sure there have been fires in the past where there have been extraordinarily rainy seasons. Like, weather has always existed. We're just saying that this is becoming worse and worse problem. Like, we were not seeing wildfires at this capacity,
right. Especially in
years
the
ago.
East.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not been affecting us as much as it was in,
like, it's not out in like Vancouver or anything like that. It's like right up above us.
Yeah.
Here, like, people just don't get it. It blows my mind. But yeah,
I just don't understand why they refuse to accept that it's getting hotter. Like, it's not a controversial thing. Like, it's not.
I mean, it is a controversial.
It's controversial,
because
but, like,
people are stupid.
Right. But, like, it shouldn't. I mean, I guess I should say it shouldn't be controversial. Like, what's so political about it getting hot? Can you not feel the heat?
Yeah. Well, and then, like, some of them will be like, well, winter was really bad. What about global warming? It's really cold today.
I know. So, I know. I have had issues with, like, wondering why did they have to call it global warming. I mean, people would find a way to complain anyway. They'd be like, no matter what they called it, they would find a way to say it was wrong.
Let's find a fun thing to call it. That maybe everybody will get behind.
Please. Good luck with that.
I'm just going to find random words and put them together, and that's what it'll be called. Climate something. Maybe I'll even leave climate.
A climate party. Maybe it's climate party.
Yeah, climate party.
Get behind us and celebrate.
Climate shenanigans.
Climate tomfoolery.
Weather party.
If you make it positive, maybe they'll believe it.
Yeah.
Change is a scary thing.
Yeah, don't be changing.
Don't be changing. Let's be out there partying with the heat.
Yes.
And the fires.
And the cold.
And the cold.
Because, global warming does actually impact the cold weather as well.
Right. It's not, that's what we're seeing, climate change. It's affecting weather patterns.
Yeah. People just, okay, never mind. Let's move on.
Yeah, back to theater.
Let's move on.
This is affecting theater. We're talking about this because it is affecting theater in every community, as these articles have proven.
And it's affecting people's minds.
Yes. We have to be able to focus on our art, and we can't because we're a dying species. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
The 2023 Tony Awards.
Tony Awards.
We're gonna have
Climate party.
We're gonna have the 2023 Weather Awards next year, 2024. So the Tony Awards are back. There was some controversy surrounding the Tonys this year.
Mm-hmm.
We were told that it might not happen because of the writers' strike, and they didn't, obviously didn't want writers to cross the picket lines to do the show. So I don't know what's happening as far as like writing of the show goes, because like there's normally writers that write the jokes and all this other stuff for the script for the show.
Yeah.
So we're gonna see what happens on Sunday, but Brenna has never watched the Tony Awards.
I've never seen an award show.
Not one.
I've never seen the Oscars. I've never seen the Tonys. I've never seen the Grammys. I've never seen any sort of award show ever.
Okay.
I grew up without cable, and I mean, so are these kind of things available on streaming? I don't even know.
I believe this will be on Paramount Plus.
Okay, see, I don't have that. I can't. You can't have every single streaming service. It drives me nuts.
Like I have Hulu Live, so I can watch it because it's on.
Oh,
BBC.
it's okay. I gotcha. Yeah. Well, I've never had the opportunity to watch these award shows. The only opportunity would be to go to somebody else's house and see it, and I have not done that.
Well,
so
you're coming over on Sunday. We're gonna watch the Tony Awards.
Okay.
Best musical has a few. I have not seen or heard any of these shows. I have not been to New York in ages.
Yeah, and we thought it might be just cool to let everyone out there in our own theater community, if you haven't heard of these shows, kind of know what's new in the theater world.
So one that I'm hearing great reviews about is & Juliet.
Yes, I've heard amazing things about this.
I'm gonna check it out. I know you don't really like to listen to cast albums until you see a show. I know that's kind of your thing.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I like to kind of know what I'm gonna see, at least a little bit. Then there's Kimberly Akimbo. I don't really know anything about that either.
But it's a great name.
It is a great name.
I love that name.
New York, which I've heard kind of not great reviews. And then there's Shucked, which is one that you are super excited about because of your love of corn.
I love corn so much. Corn on the cob, man. And that's all I really knew about it. And I didn't, at the time, it hadn't been reviewed yet. I was just like, a musical about corn? I'm there.
Yeah. And then there was the very controversial Some Like It Hot. Their controversy was not hiring an orchestra for the show, which would be like the first actual musical that didn't have an orchestra on Broadway. And I know there was another show like Contact or something a few years back that was technically best musical, but there was no singing in it. It was just dancing, and they didn't have an orchestra. So I don't think it should have been up for best musical, but that's beside the point. I'm happy to see that the musicians union won their battle against Some Like It Hot, and Some Like It Hot will now feature a 12-person orchestra.
I know, it's good for the musicians. There are more musicians at work.
Yeah.
So it's good.
Yeah, so they were going to be the first ones using canned music, and I'm so happy that's not a thing now, because you've heard my opinions on it. I think it's community theater. Which,
I know,
which for the community is fine, for community theater, but for a Broadway show, I think the orchestra is I don't know. That feels like Broadway when you see an orchestra.
No, I know. I agree that I think musicians do have a place in Broadway, and I think it's great that they are in this show now.
Yeah. So if they win the award for best musical, I won't be mad because now they are actually hiring people. So that's good.
Do you know, with a time frame, if these are happening in the middle of the year in 2023, so these would have had to have all begun within the last year? Is when the opening of these shows?
There is a timeline. Hang on, I'm going to look this up. Okay, so according to Backstage.com, Tony eligibility requirements are simple. Broadway shows are eligible. A cutoff date near the end of April designates the end of a season, meaning any production that opens after that on what is considered Broadway is eligible for the next Tony Awards.
Okay.
So, if our show opened on Broadway at the end of April, we could be considered for next year.
Right.
Which happens every year in June.
Okay.
So, yeah. I mean, it's always a fun night of theater. I don't know. It's jokes and stuff like that, and performances.
Oh, so like the winners, do they all perform?
Not even the winners. It's like everybody considered for best musical and best revival of a musical will perform.
Okay.
You'll see little scenes from like best plays and stuff like that from the nominees. So you get a little bit of everything. I mean, like, let's see. The best plays are Ain't No Mo, Between Riverside and Crazy, Cost of Living, Fat Ham, and Leopoldstadt. Best revival of a musical, Into the Woods, which features Sarah Bareilles.
Queen.
Camelot, Parade, and Sweeney Todd. So you're going to see performances from them as well.
Isn't that the one with Josh Groban?
Yeah.
Is that Sweeney? Okay.
Yeah, I'm not real thrilled about Josh Groban playing Sweeney Todd.
I've never been a huge Josh Groban fan.
Yeah, I saw him in The Great Comet, and I didn't think he was terrible.
He's has his, certain roles are great. Like in The Office when he plays like Andy's brother.
Yeah,
like certain roles are good for him. I cannot imagine him as Sweeney Todd.
No, I couldn't either. We're gonna see it though. We're gonna see it Sunday night.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll be doing a number from that. I don't know. I don't know about Josh Groban as Sweeney Todd. Yeah, that's.
But I mean, clearly he's doing it. So people can be unexpected. They can surprise you.
Yeah, true. Well,
is he nominated for Best Actor?
He's nominated for Best Actor
well, there you
in
go.
a musical. Is it not featured role? It's Best Performance by an Actor in a Leading Role in a Musical.
Okay.
And that is Christian Borle is up for Some Like It Hot. J. Harrison G. is for Some Like It Hot. Josh Groban for Sweeney Todd. Brian Darcy James, Into the Woods. Ben Platt for Parade, and Colton Ryan for New York, New York. And then Best Performance for an Actress in a Leading Role is Emily Ashford in Sweeney Todd, Sarah Bareilles, Into the Woods, Victoria Clark in Kimberly Akimbo, Lorna McCourtney for Anne Juliet, and Michaela Diamond for Parade. So it'll be interesting. You'll see Sarah Bareilles perform, I'm sure.
My idol.
Yeah.
Sarah, if you're listening, I really, really like you.
We'd love to have you on the show sometime.
Yeah.
Hey, here's a familiar name, Tom Kitt.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Cameron Crowe.
Next to Normal.
Yep. Tom Kitt for Almost Famous, which is one of my favorite films of all time.
So is that a musical or a play?
It's a musical.
Huh.
It is not up for Best Musical.
Best Scene? Oh, score. From here, it looked like Scene.
That is up for Best Score in a show.
That would be an interesting
Best
category.
Scene.
Best Scene in a musical.
From pages 12 to 14. Yeah. So I'm actually curious to hear Almost Famous because I love that movie.
Mm-hmm.
I love that movie. So yeah, the Tony Awards happening. I will be live posting on Facebook from our Spotlight 814 account while watching the Tony Awards. I know Richard Davis is a big fan of live posting on Facebook and stuff like that. So we'll be doing something similar. Richard, join in on the fun. We'll bounce back and forth off of you. Could be fun. Be a good time. Richard likes to talk about how everybody's dressed.
Okay.
The fashion.
So, okay, question. Do they all wear fancy clothes or do they wear their costumes?
Oh, it's a big fancy show.
Okay.
But, like, when they go up on stage to perform,
they change. Okay.
Yeah, and they bring, like, set pieces in and stuff like that.
Gotcha. All right, nice.
So it's cool. It's really cool. And we will be watching, so we hope you are watching, and that will be happening after this comes out. So we hope you watched.
Yeah. Hope you enjoyed.
Yes.
All right.
So what's on? What's on 814?
What's on 814? So we're going to quickly talk about what is coming up in our community. Now, this is a bunch of these are repeats, but there are still opportunities to see them. So, Savannah Sipping Society is still at Station Dinner Theater.
Can I say something about the Station Dinner Theater?
Of course.
I love what they do there. Nobody knows it's happening. Mm-hmm. Nobody knows what's happening.
Everything I've seen is because I'm friends with somebody on Facebook who's in the show.
Right.
That's how I know about it.
And that's the only reason we know anything about the show. The Facebook page just posts things about high school running. And it's like, but what about the shows?
Right.
Like, we want to know about the shows. So, please.
I mean, we got you covered. We got you covered.
We got you covered, but like we want other people to see it too.
Yeah, spread the word. Spread the word.
So, just be better on social media, please, for all of us.
But so today's the 10th, right?
Yeah. So the show only has one more night, 2 more nights.
Yeah,
including tonight.
Yeah. So tonight, tomorrow, and then the 17th.
Yes. So
you can still see it if you know this will come out probably after this weekend, but you still have the chance to see it on the 17th. And then Kingdom Come is opening. It opened last night at Dramashop, and so it'll be running through June 25th.
And we're going to see that tonight.
Yes, it looks so good. It
wait.
looks amazing.
It's about like catfishing. And
yes.
Stuff like that.
That's actually I kind of like the idea of sort of giving like a 1 minute or like a 1 sentence synopsis so people know what to expect.
Yeah.
Basically, these 2 females are making up their personalities on online dating, and they match and fall in love over these fake personalities.
Yeah.
And the whole set is kind of built with like they have like the projectors,
the screen
and
in the back,
right,
and it shows the profiles and
right,
stuff like that.
Really modern technology used in this. And
who's directing this one? Is this
Anna McDrunken? Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And
it looks fantastic. We can't wait to see it.
It really does. Yeah, I'm so excited. And we love our friends over at Dramashop. They do amazing work. As we said, we saw Jersey Boys last night, and that is also running through June 25th at Erie Playhouse.
Get your tickets for that. I have a feeling that one's going to sell really well.
Especially after the opening weekend. Like, people will be hearing about it and going to see it.
I mean, people were screaming at the end of the show.
Oh, yeah. Oh, actually, on that note, I'll also say that for Kingdom Come at Dramashop, next Friday is already sold out.
Yeah, so get your tickets for that,
too. Get on that.
But Jersey Boys, like, people were going insane last night.
Some people were singing along, was driving me nuts.
Yeah. Don't do that. But, go out and support your friends and the actors in this community and the people that are doing great things.
Yes.
Jersey Boys at the Playhouse is definitely recommended.
Mm-hmm.
So check it out.
For sure.
You will love it. We promise.
Crocodile Fever is opening June 16th and running through July 1st at PACA here in Erie.
That one looks interesting.
Yeah, I read the synopsis and I was like, what? It said something about a boil being lanced, a boil of comedy being, I don't know. It's like these 2 women who have like an abusive father, and he's kind of portrayed through this reptilian figure.
And it takes place like during the Troubles in Ireland.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're Irish sisters.
Yeah.
I don't know what to expect.
I know. I can't wait to see it though. Like the photos that I'm seeing of like what they're building and stuff. It looks really cool.
It looks insane. It looks cool. And then one thing we have not mentioned yet. I just saw this on Facebook. So Footlights Theater Performing Arts Center is putting on 2 different shows in July, and the first one is Junie B. Jones, the musical Junior. The cast was just announced on Facebook, so you can head over and then check that out there. The show dates are July 13th and 14th, and that's going to be happening at All in Act Theater. And then they're also putting on Big Fish.
Great musical, by the way.
I've not seen that one. But that's going to be July 26th, 27th, and 28th. So check out the cool things that Footlights is doing.
Yep.
And I believe that is everything.
Yeah, and then Rent in
Oh yeah,
in
sorry,
Midville.
sorry. Yeah, I missed Rent. Yeah,
Yeah,
Rent.
you missed me.
I know. I see. I had my arrow starting too soon. Rent is July 14th through 30th at the Academy Theater.
Yes, that is in Meadville. I am in that one.
Yes,
It's gonna be
he's
fun.
playing our angel.
Yep. So that's what's going on.
Yeah.
That's what's on in Erie, in 814.
Yeah.
And all that stuff.
I'll also briefly say, as we wrap it up here, the MCT, the Meadville Community Theater, just announced their season
They did.
for next year, and it is a lot of local work. So take that as you will. There's Liberan's Library, a book reading. It's going to be at the library in Meadville, actually. Drop Dead in November. A Doll's House in January.
Which is up for Best Revival of a Play
Yes.
at the
And the
Tony
Tonys.
Awards.
Mhm.
Not that production, but
Not the MCT production, unfortunately. It's
Yeah.
not happened yet. But
that show is very good, and that's the one I'm excited to see
Mhm.
this season at MCT.
and that's going to be directed by Katie Wickert, I believe.
Yeah.
And then Amare a Cabaret Night in February. Boxcar Children in March. And yes, that is based on the beloved book series, Boxcar Children.
Series.
Vita Fabulas, a storytelling event in April. Going Up in May. That's the name of the musical. Is Going Up is happening in May.
Okay.
And then Chaos at the Wedding, a farce in 2.5 acts, is in June. So actually, 5 of those shows are by local people.
Yes, and there is a rumor.
A
going
rumor.
around, a rumor going around that there may be a production of Evil Dead the musical.
So I won't say any names. I have
Yeah, we're just saying a rumor.
Right.
It's a rumor.
Someone has said that someone else is looking into getting the rights for Evil Dead. I don't know if that's for this year or for next year or if they're just kind of looking into it. I don't know.
But Evil Dead is a fun musical with blood and splash zones in the audience.
Is it Kandarian? Kandarian
Demons.
Kandarian
Yes.
Demons.
There's a song by one of the girls in the show, and she sings, "All of my past boyfriends were killed by Kandarian demons." So,
Relatable.
yeah. So, that's something to look out for. If you are interested in doing a show around Halloween time, that's when it would happen, I would assume.
I went on. I frequent the MTI site, just waiting for a waitress to be available. And it did say on the list of to become available eventually was Evil Dead, so it's not currently available. But
It was for a while, and I don't know why they took it off.
Okay.
Because there was a theater out in Pittsburgh just doing it last Halloween. PMT.
Okay.
They did it. Nick Mitchell does it almost every year out there.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, the rights are not available right now. So,
Interesting.
yeah,
Maybe there's going to be a revival of it.
maybe. That would be dope. It's a fun show. I don't know. But, yeah, that's going to wrap it up for us, I think, this week.
Yeah.
We talked for over an hour today.
Oh wow. Well, I had a lot to say about wildfires.
Yeah, well, we did rant about the wildfires. Please go support local theater.
Yes. You have so many opportunities to do that.
We have shows out the wazoo this week.
Right.
All right? So check them all out. Kingdom Come, Dramashop, Jersey Boys at the Playhouse, Savannah Sipping Society at the Station Dinner Theater. Please, Paul, at the station, have somebody else run your social media. Please. We want to know what's going on there. we really want to know. And we want other people to find it easily. So, there's that. And then Crocodile Fever next week. So, you have plenty of options. Check out the local theater. Support them. Love them. Cheer for them.
They're all indoors, so
No smoke
lower
inhalation.
smoke. Except, I should also mention a reminder that Shakespeare in the Park will be happening in Frontier Park in July as well.
Yes, and
So-
we will have exact dates for you next week on that.
Mhm.
Our friend Jassy is directing one of those shows, I believe.
I know he's in it. He was in the cast photo. Howard Lang is also
Howard Lang,
in it. Shar, is that?
I think
or-
Char's in it, yeah.
I'm pretty sure she was in it.
So I don't know if they're directing or acting in it, but we're going to find out. We're going to find out more about
Yeah.
this. We're going to have Zach Flock on possibly next week to talk about the Erie Playhouse. And and everything going on there, and Jersey Boys and stuff like that.
Next week will be my last week for a little while.
I know, that makes me really sad.
Me too.
So if you are interested in co-hosting with me and listening to my rants and trying to be the one to reel me back in, like Brenna does.
And you got to do all kinds of research.
Yeah. Let us know on our Facebook page or on our new Instagram page, which you can find. And, yeah, we're going to need 7 people, because there's 7 episodes that you will be missing while you were in London.
I know. Oxford.
Whatever. Same thing. So,
I mean, you can do a couple of them. You can, like, come on and do a couple weeks.
Yeah. I know Chris Peterson is interested. We're going to have Austin Kulik on, talk about Pride in a couple weeks. Erie Pride is happening, and Meadville Pride is coming up next month. So there's a lot going on for Pride. You know, not necessarily theater related, but it's a lot of entertainment for you to check out in the area. So he will be on talking about Pride, and yeah, so we're gonna need at least 5 more. So hit us up if you want to be on the show. If you want to just talk for an hour.
You don't even have to be good at it.
No, we could talk about climate change for an hour.
Yeah.
We just
People, I have no idea what I'm doing, and I'm still here.
So you know, I have no idea what I'm doing, and the Erie Reader said I am, what was it?
A savant.
Podcasting savant. So thank you, Erie Reader. I really appreciate that. But what the hell am I doing here?
We just come in here and talk for a little while.
And there happens to be a microphone. Yeah. So you can
provide
do
all
it
the
too.
content. Yeah, like the community provides the content. We just talk about it.
Exactly. So you can do it too. Let me know if you want to join me on the show while Brenna is in Manchester.
in Wales.
In Toledo.
No. Who studies in Toledo?
In Brussels.
Sure.
Okay.
All right.
See you next week.
We're wrapping it up now.
Okay. We love you, Erie.
Bye.
Bye.